Welcome to TenderThots Connect. My name is Fumilayo Azoro Ekitie, and I'm so excited to be with you on this particular day. We give glory to God for a successful 2024. I'm looking forward to 2025 with so much joy and expectation. TenderThots Connect remains your favorite channel, and I want you to stay glued to this channel because great things are coming your way in the new year. And talking about the new year, there are so many topics that we are going to be delving into. And on today's topic, and on today's episode, we're going to be discussing a particular issue, a very important issue that seems to have been overlooked or downplayed in the society. And we need to discuss this topic is one person who is so passionate about the subject matter. She is an equiper of the wholesome boy child through expression, both faith-based and secular. I think I've let the cat out of the bag. Yes, our subject matter today centers on the boy child. My guest speaker is also a personal transformation strategist, helping individuals unleash the greatness in them already. So she's good at helping you to live a purposeful life. Remember that greatness lies in every individual. And she does that for both those who are employed and at personal spaces. Please join me to welcome this great personality, Chineze Joseph.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Such an honor to be here with you. And indeed, I feel very encouraged by the work that you do. And being here on this same platform with you is such a blessing, such an honor, and such a privilege. And even much more that we're going to be dwelling and talking about the boy child, which is, a subject really that we need to have much more often. If we really want to see wholesome men, wholesome boys, then we need to start from the grassroots, which is the discussion that we're having today. So thank you so much for having me on your platform. Thank you.
You're most welcome there. It has always been my earnest desire to have you on this platform, especially when it comes to the issue of the boy child. And I'm excited that we're going to talk about it right away. Now, before we go into our discussion, I just want to give you a preview of our discussion. I was kind of upset when I realized that the boy child was not given recognition for a long while. The United Nations recognized the girl child and set a day aside to celebrate the girl child and to create awareness on issues, challenges that confront the girl child. And that was done in about 2011. And it took United Nations about 7 to 8 years to do the same for the boy child. The celebration of the boy child did not come to play until the year 2018. I'm sure you're even surprised at what I'm saying. How many of you know that the boy child has a special day? Like just the World Day for the girls, the World Day for mothers, the World Day for cancer. The boy child also has a day designated to celebrate the boy child. And that day is May 16th of every year. If you didn't know that, please take note of it now. May 16th is a day set aside by United Nations to celebrate the boy child. And this did not just come to play like that without the efforts of a great man. And I think we should celebrate this person who deemed it, wise to bring it to the forefront that the boy child should be celebrated. He is none other than Dr. Jerome Tillotson, a university lecturer from Trinidad and Tobago. He founded the Day of the Boy Child in 2018. So the day is celebrated every year. So if you're a school owner, you are a parent, you are an uncle, even you are an aunt, you have a boy child around you, please mark this day, May 16th, on your calendar and join the world in celebrating the boy child. By the time we delve into our discussion, you will understand that indeed the boy child is worthy to be celebrated. So for the World Boy Child Day, it aims to highlight the needs and challenges that boys face globally, not just in Nigeria, not just in Africa, but globally. You will agree with me that there are challenges that the boys face. Number one is lack of recognition that I just talked about. Boys are not usually recognized for who they are. There's so much expectation from the boy child. And remember, like I always say, if we don't treat the child well, when that child turns out to be an adult, it will be impossible to repair. It's easier to build a child than to repair a broken man. So let's put the foundation in good perspectives, and then we'll have a beautiful society to live in. This, you can click on the like button at this time, share the video to your friends and families so that we can have a larger audience, because we're going to give you value for your time on this episode, just like every other episode. You're welcome once again, Chineze.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So we're going to be talking about something that you're so passionate about. Like I mentioned, we're going to discuss the challenges that the boy child faces, and then how we're going to surmount these challenges, even it has to be done one at a time. So before we talk about the challenges, for the sake of clarity, for audience to know, who exactly is the boy child?
Okay, so thank you for that question. So long as we know about creation, God created two genders, and he created them male and female. So the male has his part to play, and the female also has her part to play. It's never really a competition. In fact, it is not a competition. The boy, the man, has his space. The girl, the woman, has her space. And the moment we start to understand that there's no competition, then really we'll have healthier relationships, healthier families, healthier marriages, healthier societies. So I'd like to say that the boy child is the younger version of the man. Yes, so the boy child is that gender that is male that grows into a man. That's the boy child.
That's the best definition. Yes, the younger version of the man.
Yes.
All right, so thank you for that. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about now, what are the challenges? And you mentioned that as long as there's no competition, why does it seem as if there's a competition between the boy and the girl, the man and the woman? Why do we have that?
Okay, so again, we all know that the attention is on the girl child, because somehow the society feels that the girl is much more gentler, she's I'm looking for the right word to use. The girl ought to be protected. Rightly so, I agree. The boy child also needs to be protected. Now, when that imbalance is there, and there's so much focus on the girl child, and the boy is left on his own, neglected, then it is only normal that even us in our families were already building that imbalance and thinking that we're helping the girl and thinking that we're helping the boy by just letting him be because he's a boy. But in letting him be, where then is his personal growth and development happening? It's happening with the girl child. We're telling her, do this, do that, do that. In some homes, the boys are being left alone. They will find their way somehow. And then when something happens, the punishment is harsher on the boy than it is on the girl. So these subtle things that happen, even from childhood, build this kind of bridge. No, not a bridge. It builds this kind of, I don't want to use animosity. It builds this kind of sensitive kind of relationship or understanding, unhealthy understanding. Because also, even when you come to schools, you see girls being entitled, quote and unquote, because you say to the boy child, oh, don't hit the girl, oh, don't shout on the girl, oh, don't do this to the girl. Then what are you saying to the girl? It's okay for the girl to hit the boy, and then when the boy speaks up, we hush him down immediately and say, no, don't talk to the girl like that. Don't you know you're a boy? So silently, we are placing those things in there, which should not be in the first place. Because if we understand that the boy child has his place, the girl child has his place, then this friction should not be, no matter how subtle, it tries to play out. Because that's what builds up from childhood. And, over time they grow with it. One of my sons brought their yearbook one of the days, and he was asking me, Mommy, what is it about boys and girls? Every time, boys don't hit girls, boys don't shout on girls, boys don't do this to girls. How about the boys, Mommy? And flippantly then, this was about 3 years ago, I just said, boys, people need to sharpen up, because if you know the way that they're pressing girls and bringing them up, then you boys need to sharpen up. But that's from the sense, that's from the part of a child. As of then, he was about 8 to 9 years old. But he's already, he's already seeing the disparity. He's already seeing it. Example again, when a girl beats a boy in class, because it happens all the time. When a girl beats a boy in class, the boy cannot go and report to the teacher, because he'll be feeling like, how can I get? And he also cannot beat the girl back, because it will be like it will be like violence. You're beating a girl, So where then is that? So we keep making the boys bottling so much, keeping so much, and at the end of the day, those things, even though they don't say it, because boys at the end of the day, there are some things that they feel they are too manly to be discussing.
No, just hold it there. We'll talk about that. Just hold it there.
Okay.
Just hold it there.
Okay.
We'll still talk about that.
Yes, please.
We'll talk about that issue concerning their mental health.
Okay.
Good. So we've mentioned the disparity between the boys and the girls as one of the challenges. But some people think that the girls are the ones even suffering. That is why they kind of protect the girl child. They feel the boys are the ones that have this entitlement, label, that people prefer the boys. They give them special treatment. Like in Africa now, they are the ones that will bring about the next generation. So they protect the boys. So coming from you now, you said the girls are even the ones that are more protected, unlike the boys, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I speak to that? Okay, so in as much as our discussion today is not boys versus girls, it's actually about the boys. But there's always a need to bring in some sort of balance. Many years ago, the focus, I don't even think the focus was ever on the boy child. Maybe they were sending boys to school. But even in sending boys to school, they were not training those boys. They would just send them off to school. Meanwhile, the girl at home is being groomed and trained. So from my own quiet observation, the boy child has never really been trained and given the attention that he needs. Even though, yes, we agree, he's the one that is the boy child that sustains a family, children are born, generations come after the male. Yeah, that one is nature. That's the way it's been given already. But that training that we give to a girl is still not given to a boy, even those years when we were feeling that the girl child was being neglected. And then again, when we used to have girls were in the kitchen and boys were going to school, definitely that's not what we have now. In fact, if you check opportunities coming to boys in the university. You see girls in ICT, girls in science, girls in that. Which one is boys in ICT? Boys in tech, boys in this. It's just the general one. If you come to Lawyers Association also, you have feeder. Yeah, you have for female. So the attention for me has always been on the girl child, even though we're thinking it was on the boy. But the boys were just left on their own. Okay, it's time for him to go to school. Time to go to school. But that girl at home, go and wash plates. It's time to do this. She's being groomed. Leadership, she's being groomed. So much is expected from the boys, really. And again, we really do not want this discussion to be boys versus girls.
We're going to center
on boys. Yes. So the thing for me is that boys need a lot of personal grooming, personal development, within the family space, within the school, schools need to recognize this and reckon with it. Families need to recognize this and reckon with it, not just to recognize it. We expect so much from the boys. Look at our African cultures now. When a girl is getting married, she's sent to the fattening room. She's told how to speak to her husband, how to do this, how to do that. Who is teaching the boy how to lead a home? The girl you're teaching is not going to be the leader of the home. It's the man. But who is teaching the boy? So he goes in there and handles marriage just the way he has seen or he has observed or he feels. So what happens at the end of the day? That girl that has been groomed, knowingly or unknowingly, for leadership position, but is not the leader and cannot lead, will continue to have conflict with the man that ought to be the leader, but is yet to be trained.
He's not yet trained.
Yes. So it starts from the boy. It starts from the boy's foundation.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we've talked about the boys not being groomed, you understand, to take up their roles as fathers, as husbands, as even as a boss at work, relating with his colleagues at work. Okay, now, there's another challenge I want us to talk about. Why do we have society placing so much pressure on the boy child?
Well, okay. The boy is like a protector. The boy becomes the husband, the boy becomes the father, even when he's not yet all that. If in the house we see a snake now,
we call on the boy.
Yeah, because
and if the boy tries to, run away, they say, don't you know that you're a man?
And he will man up and kill the snake.
Even if he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, because it's in them to protect. It's part of their makeup. By virtue of their hormones, all them serotonin and all of them testosterone, is by virtue of their makeup, they protect. He's not yet a father, he's not yet a husband, but he's just there.
Being a boy, being a man has given him that place.
Yes.
He has to do it.
Yes.
Now, what is the role of the family in helping the boy
Okay.
to achieve or to fulfill his purpose as a boy?
Okay. So when it comes to family relationships and in raising boys, this is where I take particular interest in. Because when in a family, first of all, incidentally, families are no longer the way we used to know families then. Then when we were growing up, they tell you, remember the family where you came from. This generation, that doesn't make sense to them. Remember the family that you came from. Huh? They just even know just their father and mother. They don't know their cousins. Most Gen Zs don't even know their first cousins. Not to talk. So when we say that, remember the family you came from, it doesn't make sense to them. So in the dispensation that we live in, the message that we should preach, especially to the boy child, is that of personal development and personal growth. So the family owes it to that boy to help to groom him. Again, no individual can give what he or she does not have. So if a family recognizes we don't have this so much, we're not growing so much as individuals to give these things to these children, then that family must go out of their way. Number one, father, mother, to individually, personally grow. Because you can only train from the level at which you are at. If you are here, I'm sorry, that's where you train from. That's where your child will also grow from.
That's
if you are here,
you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. If you're here, you'll give from there. Your child will start from there and has a leverage already. So communities, homes must press on that personal development for the boy child. Now, where the families don't have it, or even where you feel you have it already, when you see initiatives, when you see initiatives, measures, things, workshops, conferences that are for boys, please push the boy child that way. Please do that. The boys need it. They don't have lots of mentors like we have.
Yes,
women, yes, girls, women have. Before you know, once one woman is growing, she has gathered a number of young girls to start to mentor. Men don't usually have that. They don't have that. So intentionally, we must continue to train the boy child, continue to push him into circles, into initiatives, into environments and atmosphere that he can continue to grow and to develop himself. Because when he grows, that's when he can give from who he is. That's when he can love from who he is, because already he loves himself. So the love will flow from there. So I always, thank you, I always preach personal growth and development. When you say to your child, I need you to change your mindset because this, I need you to, and push him into that environment, then you see that that child, that boy child, begins to grow from a sense of understanding, not from the sense of the family that we come from, we don't steal, we don't lie. No. Share family values, yes, but more importantly, allow him to own his growth, and that way he becomes a much more wholesome boy child. And always remember that, you know, every human being is in the tripartite: spirit, soul, and body. So when we talk about this wholesome boy child, it simply means that he should not be soaring in his mind, you know, he's creative, he's this, he's that, but his body is suffering, or his spirit, his spiritual is not growing. It's a tripartite. Yes, there must be actions. You must feed, like I say, you must feed your spirit well. You must feed your body well. You must feed your soul well. The food you give to your soul is not the food you give to your body. It's definitely not the food you give to your spirit. So these are things that we encourage, so that even when it is not there, readily available within the family setting, please find places where you can actually push these boys and let them go there to learn. Society is placing out some very kind of narrative to the boy child. For instance, you know, just take normal advert that they do. It's a car they're advertising, and then they put up a naked woman. Who is it for?
That's the media.
Who is it for? It's for the boy. It's for the man. So they are trying so much to feed them. So we must also be very intentional. Yes, we must also be very intentional in what we allow the boys to soak in. Because if we are not intentional, the society will grab these boys.
Please,
already.
Okay, who are the we? I want us to be specific.
We, the parents, we, guardians, we, teachers, we, community, neighbors also. If I see something for the boys that my son is learning from or is gaining from, onus is on me to tell my friend about it. There's something here for boys. Please put him here. Please put him here. You know, just share. And when you see a boy child going the wrong way, please don't leave it. Or leave him and say, after all, it's not my child, my own children are okay. No. If you have a way, please find a way and speak lovingly to him or even to the parents, depending, yes, on the relationship that you have. Because if it affects one boy, it's just a little time, and it could affect the neighbor also. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we also talked about, you mentioned disciplinary measures.
Yes.
I noticed also that we place higher disciplinary measures on boys than girls. Why is that so? Is it the same reason? Because they are created from the onset as headship? Okay.
On that, because boys are much more energetic. Definitely. They are energetic, they are risk takers. Again, because of their makeup, you know, is very much different from our own gender. So when punishments are given out, we try to, because they're always very energetic. So which one we want to give them the one that will get, yes, that will get into them. Yes, because really we have to always bring a balance to it. Because the more violence or the more aggressive we are to the boy child, be it by virtue of disciplinary measures that we call it, or out of frustration or out of anger, the more aggressive that we are towards the boy child, the more aggressive the boy himself is being. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle. He must unleash that aggressiveness. And who does it unleash it on? Unleash on his community, his close-knit circle. It will start with his friends, whether male or female. That's how you see boys beating girls anyhow. And you're wondering, why? Because that's what has been given.
When he gets his own family,
it goes in there also. So it's really very critical, really, that we place, you know, very weighty importance on raising boys. There's an analogy I always like to use. When a boy child is not raised, intentionally raised, and he gets into a family system, for example, he gets married, he has a wife, and he has children, all of those aggressiveness, guess what? It's not displayed outside. It's displayed right there in the family. Who are the victims? The supposed loved ones. And most times, he doesn't know that that is what is happening. He's not intentionally doing it, but what is inside is simply what is flowing out. And guess what? As it's flowing out, it's flowing to the wife, it's flowing to the children, and the children also are soaking in.
Yes. I call it a vicious circle.
Thank you. They are soaking in, so it continues. Really need to be on the lookout for the boy child, not because the boy is more important than the girl or because the girl is more important than the boy. When we started, we said the boy has his space, the girl has her space. If we bring up healthy girls and healthy boys, we have a healthy society.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Okay, no, we've talked about the role of the family, and it's extensive. I think we might even go back to it. Now, what is the role of the education sector? Because we find that the boy goes to school, spends most of his time in school. Now, what roles do we expect the education sector, the teachers, the school owners to play in raising the boy child?
Okay, well, in that sector, I'd like to first of all say that we must first of all understand that boys learn differently from girls. Girls learn differently from boys. I'm not exactly in the education system, but I know I've read a bit on that, on how the brain of a boy child works, and it's not really something that is obtainable within our own system. One system works, boy or girl. But I'd like to say that if our educational systems can start to look into, this disparity, yes, for the boy and for the girl, we'll come up with much more wholesome boys. Again, another aspect I'd like to also talk about when it comes to schooling is that there's something I find a bit amiss when it comes to schools. I've had this discussion severally, but I'm still seeking answers. Okay. So in the schooling system, for instance, because of boys, their hormones again, they're always the ones that, they fight. They fight. They are just, they are just very energetic. So they are exactly. So when a boy child hits another boy child, the school says to the second person that is hit, go and report. Don't hit back. Go and report. And okay, that's fine. The boy goes to report day one. Day two again. They come again. They hit him again. And in time, don't fight. Go and report. And the boy goes to report. Over time, even the school system that child is reporting to gets tired of hearing that boy child complain. However, if that boy child defends himself, what does the school do? The school punishes both the person that started it, the offender, and the defender. Punishes them equally. So what then are we encouraging as a system? I feel that the message the school should give primarily is to discourage every and any form of hitting or violence. Would it be completely out of the system? No, because of their ages at that time. It won't be completely out, but it will be minimized to the barest minimum. Rather than telling a child, and I don't know how... Yes, I'm not sure how schools are going to have that conversation and come to something reasonable that works. Because I do not encourage reporting. Because guess what? That child that keeps reporting to you and the school is, okay, that, they are not fighting, they are not this. The day there's no teacher or principal or an authority for that child to report to, then that child is automatically disempowered. He doesn't know what to do at that point in time. Esteem. Yes. Esteem. So while we don't encourage violence, and we will not encourage violence, however, we should also preach some form of healthy self-defense. I don't know how that conversation is going to come in schools. It's not to encourage violence, no, but also to help that other child know that you also can actually defend yourself. Let's not disempower them by every time reporting. Instead, the message, I think, should be that schools should discourage every form of hitting. Let our children know. Let our boys especially know. You can dialogue. You can communicate. It's okay. He does not agree with you. That's okay. Everybody cannot agree with you, just as you, as the boy, cannot agree with everybody. Would you then go hitting because he doesn't agree with me, she doesn't agree with me? How many people are you going to hit? So that message and that dialogue really needs to be had amongst you, so that we don't, in the name of having peace, now disempower a child from that age and make him feel less of himself when there's nobody for him to take that case to.
And when the child begins to report all the time, it's going to become a laughing stock.
Thank you.
Because the so-called, the bully, or the one who is always hitting, we say, after all you do is to go and report. Or they will even tell the child, go and report, and nothing will be done. Or even when he reports, they will still come after the child. So I think that thing is very important. It's something they have to look into. And I want to add that the education sector can also help in organizing more trainings.
Thank you.
For the boy child.
Thank you.
Like what you have talked about now. If we can teach the boy child about empathy, respect, you understand? It will go a long way to help them reduce this fighting issue that we have, always going physical. You understand? You know, so the other time a boy lost his life in school. Remember the story? It went viral.
Yes, Christopher.
So I think we should do more. Instead of punishing them, disciplining them, we can also prevent these acts from happening.
Yes.
When we train them, when we give them talks, bring in people to come and mentor these children.
Thank you.
Mentorship is very important. The importance cannot be overemphasized. The boy child needs mentors in his life. But you know, most parents don't see the need for it. I can remember when one of my sons, who sat for WAEC in the COVID-19 era, you know, I knew he was going through a lot at that time. You know, but he could not even ask questions. You could see it written all over him. You could see his mood and all that. So what I did was to find somebody who would mentor him. He goes to see the person, pick a day every week to see the person, stay with the person. In fact, a pastor actually, and it helped him. It really helped him. So I think parents should do more of that.
Yes.
It does not belittle your role as his father. It does not belittle your role as his mother. If you have a boy child, you can get somebody that you trust, that could mentor your child for you, because it's very important. Then I want to also add role models. Now, in a place where you have an absentee father, somebody will ask, so who will now, if the father is not available, is not present, what about uncles in the family? I think we should go back to our old system of family. Very important, where the community trains the child. It helped us while we were growing up. You have these people that when they mention their names, you know, you're uncomfortable. You have to be at your best behavior. So they need good role models in their lives as boys. They need to have good examples that they can see and then follow. Very important. In the family as well as even in the school. So I'm talking to teachers right now. How good are you at leading the boys in your care? Are you raising them positively? Can they say they are learning good things from you? Or you're even the one showing them the wrong way? I'll leave it at that. So it's very important, like I said, mentorship and having good role models around them. You also talked about the media. I think we should visit that. Yes. The media plays a role in the lives of these boys. I want us to buttress that. How can parents, you know, demystify the picture that the media presents to the boys? Because, you know, most boys, especially the teens, when they become teens, you know, they're like adults, you know, but still caged in a child's mindset. So they begin, men have girlfriends, so I think I'm entitled to one. I see on media men smoke, so I think I should try it. Men drink, so I think, you know, they feel as if it's a men thing, you know. all these things are what makes me a man. But that's not actually what makes you a man. That you smoke, you drink. It doesn't make you a man. So how can we pass this message to the boy child?
Okay. So again, again, it boils down to self-identity, owning his self-identity, owning his values. Because would he continue to meet those things in the media? Oh yes, he will. But when that boy understands his values, owns his personal development and his personal growth, then he's able to tell between this and this. No, this is not for me. And it's okay, even if 10 people in my class or in my community are doing it, but I understand that this isn't for me. So he moves away from it. And every boy child must, as much as is possible, have his own tribe, because the pressure on boys is much. Drugs, drinking, now we have gambling, betting, women. There's a lot. So there's so much so that a teenager's willpower at that time cannot. We still have men that are struggling with some of those things. Now imagine a teenager. So he must find his tribe. In our very first book for the boy child, which is The Warrior Son, it talked about, we used Daniel as a prototype.
Written by you?
Yes, written by me. We used Daniel as a prototype. Daniel had so much in him, and he had so much going. It didn't matter to him who was there or who wasn't there. Yes, he was just so strong-willed, and he was, no, I will not do this because, not because his parents were there. Daniel was equally a teenager at the time. He had his values.
Very important.
He grew, it was in him. Personal growth and transformation, once is not a part and parcel of who we are. It's like sellotape that they just put on the skin. When the gum on that thing dries up, the sellotape will fall off. But if it is an understanding of my, that I have, this is me, this is who I am, these are my values. And it doesn't matter who is pushing me to do it. Now we're in the days of baby mamas. It looks so cool. What are we telling the teenagers? Exactly. So we talked about all of those things in that book. So number one, it comes from the place of ownership of self. Identify your values, own your values, find your tribe. And your tribe does not have to be 10 boys, we're in a group, 10 boys. Those tribes that are usually lean, they're usually lean, but they serve as catalysts. So if we have like two, they build themselves, and then they will now spread out. Because other boys will be seeing the difference in them. The way they talk is different. The way they carry themselves is different. The way they create is different.
They are visionary.
Thank you. So it has to come from the place of
identifying who you are.
Self-identity. Who am I? What makes sense to me that doesn't make sense to others? What are my values? If excellence is my value, I don't do things anyhow. So even if others are doing things anyhow, I won't do things anyhow. If others are watching a particular content, even though it's interesting, is this one? But I do know already that this one is not for. I get up and leave. It doesn't matter who is there or who is not there, and that comes from a place of a growing personal development or personal transformation or personal. I don't use evolution, because evolution has to do with just things evolving without intentional steps being made towards it. No, personal development means that you have to put there has to be intentional actions. Now, how do we go about that? Number one, in the family, talk about it. Share your values with the child. Beyond that, buy your boy, books. People think that books are outdated. Books are marvelous, because books do a lot to the mind that screen cannot do to the mind. Listening cannot do to the mind. There's a thing about reading and taking in and soaking in. Your mind is processing beyond what you are reading, but screen is just there, feeding you with what is just showing. It's not allowing your mind to process. So we must buy books for our boys. Inspirational books. I don't like to call them motivational books. Inspirational books. We have The Warrior Son. There are some other amazing books out there also for the boys. Get them books. What you cannot teach them, they can get from the book in the comfort of their own room.
And you get them the books. Don't just make them read the books. You can also read
alongside.
Yes.
And they share, they
share,
review
yes, you
with
review,
you.
yes,
Yes.
very important.
Yes, we have that in my house. They read books and then they review.
review.
If they must not tell me everything in that book, but you know, they review, and you know that they have picked something from there. And sometimes, of course, we know when we read, it's not everything we get from a book that we can say no. There are some that have already been deposited in our subconscious, and when we need them, we use them. There are also video courses too. There are organizations, communities just doing things for
Online.
boys. Please find them. Please find those associations, find those communities, and push your boys in there. Before you push, ask, check, investigate, find out the person's background, the mentor's background, find out, or the coach or whoever, find it out, and then push. Yes, and then push the boy in there, and then also follow up. Please don't leave it as just like that. No,
take the child there, drop
no,
the child.
exactly. When he comes back, review
up, yes.
and have all of those things. If not, I always say, if a child ends at just what was taught in class, it ends at just being a photocopy at best of that teacher. How about you come back as a child and you research on it, you know? And then now we're talking about research. So the internet also, parents also have to put we already know that as parents, as guardians, that we have to put restrictions on, you know, how they use the internet and all of that.
Online safety.
Yes, but I also know about, is it Kido? One time I used Kido. Somebody introduced Kido and said it was good for, you know, for children.
Yes.
Lo and behold, one of the days on Kido, I saw 10 most beautiful women in the world. And I'm wondering, is this the same? I had to check again. It was on Kido. So there's never really so much you can do as per restrictions and all of that. The most important is a growing identity of self, a growing identity of your values. And values not full stop. Today it could be truth, integrity, honesty, excellence. You know that one. Tomorrow you add another one. Growth is also a value. The fact that you're growing your mind, growing your spirit, is also a value. So you add that today, you keep, as you're growing, you keep knowing more things, you know, and you're adding. Building a tribe also now has become, do I call it a skill? Yes, because to build your own tribe, you have to find people that share like values with you. Yes, and then you build your tribe, and you're now able to inspire each other. So boys need this community. It's not only we women that need it. It's natural for women to do all of that. So we must consciously plug our boys into this. Where I work, I have a colleague, and I introduced the reading club to them, because we have a reading club that we run. It's 2 years plus now, and you know, we come together, we read, we choose a particular subject, we find like 3 to 4 books on it, read, discuss, review, and I saw changes in the lives of these women. Incidentally, it's a women something. No, but our boys club is coming up very soon. Yes, that's where yes, I will. So I saw a lot happen, and then I shared it with a younger colleague of mine at the office, and he started, and he took it a notch further, because I said, when we discussed, I also suggested, if you can bring men that are, you know, men that you see their track records, that okay, these ones are doing well, you know, ask a few questions, because we have people that they are doing well surface wise, but by the time you go deep, you start seeing some things that shouldn't be there. So you ask your questions and just bring them on board. They don't have to be many. 1 or 2 is okay. So they started the book club, and every quarter they bring in a man to talk to them. They can choose a topic, relationships or whatever it is, and they started to see growth. Sometimes it's just the little intentional steps that make all the difference. Now they've built a community. Now they brought a mentor into the space. They have somebody they're asking questions on, okay, workplace and all of that. So thank you. So communities, intentionally building the boy child in every way that we can, by values, you know, helping him with who he is. And when we say this self-identity, sometimes it looks like one wide and broad. But self-identity is simply saying, who are you? What matters to you? What matters to you? Who are you exactly? It's not, I'm a teacher, or I'm no, that's not who you are. That's not your self-identity. So I could say things like, I don't want to take it faith-based. I always don't want to when we're in a secular discussion, but the truth is, we can't take it out of it, because our spirituality, whether Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, our spirituality is first before the other ones come up. So your highest identity is taken from your spirituality. I am a child of God, first and foremost, before any other thing starts to come. Now, who is that child of God now? I'm a child of God who is loved with an everlasting love. Then you talk about things that the Bible or your own spiritual book has already told you that you are. When I see myself as a child of God, when I see myself as a carrier of the presence of God, there are some things that won't even come to my mind to do in the first place. Why? Because I'm operating at
That
a level I operate from. So that's the place of self-identity. Then we can then layer on things like I'm visionary, I'm this, I'm creative, or I like to do this or I like to do that. But first and foremost, self-identity comes from our spirituality. And as much as people may want to say, people go church, people do this, people do that, that's where the truth lies, because we are humans. If we want to limit it to just our human existence here, we are limiting ourselves. There's a higher. So let our children from this their little age, let our boys from this their growing ages know that the spiritual is much more higher than the things that we see here, or higher than any ambition of yours of, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a scientist, I want to be, what's this one, coding expert and all of that. I want to build robots. That's not your identity. Start your identity. Take from your identity, from who your creator says that you are. Then you can then layer other things on it. So a child that has that growing understanding of self and understands the place of values would always surmount the challenges, that confront him.
Because challenges will definitely come.
Yes.
Oh, what a beautiful moment.
Thank you.
So, we've been talking about the boy child, the challenges that the boy child faces, as well as how we can help the boy child to become a better adult and a plus to the community. Now, one more question.
Yes,
I have it here. I said, how important is it for the boys to have conversations about consent and healthy relationship?
How important is it?
Yes, for boys to have this conversation. How
course.
important concerning consent and
Healthy relationships. Okay, it's very important. Again, it boils down to growth, trainings, mentorships, talking in the homes, bringing people around that can actually talk also and mentor these boys so that they know that there's such a thing as barrier. Don't cross this barrier. If a person says to you, oh, I don't like this, brother, respect it. He or she does not like it. Sometimes boys, maybe children, they just like to, because I like it, so I can continue to do it even though that person is complaining. So of course, consent, barriers, healthy relationships, very, very key, in the life of a boy child is very key, because boys can be domineering also. So it's good to let them know that yes, you can do that, but no, it's not okay. So seek consent where you need to seek consent. It's just in the place of training, really, and let them know that this is this is that. Where you're right, what they say, where you're right
is where
another person's own starts. And when people say to you, I don't like, you don't have to keep pressing on. I see it a lot in children. They still, because they are enjoying it. But if that is not curbed at that stage, that's what, they take into the adult stage. So we must continue to let our boys know. When I was growing up, I don't know if it's because, no, even for all my siblings, those are teenage age, when boys started to talk to girls, and girls too were, responding to the boys' talk. One of the things that my parents did, I don't know why they did it, but it helped a lot. They always said to us, I don't want to go outside and find you under one tree with one boy. Mm-hmm. If any boy wants to see you, bring him to the house. So all my chaikas that time would come to the house. My brother, their girlfriends that time, would come to the house. Do you know what ended up happening? We ended up all becoming family friends.
That's how it happens.
We ended up all becoming family friends, and it was a healthy relationship. I don't know why they did it, but I know that's what happened. So I have lots of friends that have become my brother's friends because of that thing that my parents put in place. Yes. So, of course, that showed us already that it's not like they're telling you don't have girlfriend, don't have, but we had a lot until maybe when we got outside of university, and then we started to date or something like that. But while we were in secondary school, while we were in uni, it was just, they didn't tell us it's not time for dating, but just that thing that they put in place. Because when I even got into uni, it became a normal thing. All my friends became friends to my roommates. By the time you come to my room once, twice, because I didn't have that, I don't know how to put it, because of what I had already at home. I couldn't come to the uni and then I'll go and start. No, it just became part and parcel. So those are things, each family is unique, and find what works for the family and make it work for that child, because what they have now is what they will always take up. And for boys especially, even to protect yourself when it comes to relationships, I always say this thing, that if something happens here, for instance, there's a girl here, there's a boy here, and then the boy is fully dressed, I'm sorry I'm using this example, and the girl is perhaps maybe naked or some, no, not completely naked, but just not looking all right, and we walking, you and I walking, and that girl is telling us, no, he didn't touch me, already what we would have said in our minds, hey, that boy wanted to, so as boys, take it upon yourself to protect yourself. Don't be found in corners that would implicate you, because if anything happens, I'm sorry, it's you, that's the society. So take it upon yourself to protect yourself. Be with your tribe, have fun with your tribe, have adventures with your tribe, but don't go and put yourself in places that would implicate you by directly or indirectly. So it is important that boys understand consent, and it's all in the place of healthy growth, personal development. The more you grow, the more empowered that you feel to be able to handle things. It's not everything that our parents or our teachers or community can teach us. There are things that you now start to, because of who you are becoming, you're able to take certain healthy decisions for yourself. And that's why personal growth for boy, girl, man, woman, ultimate in a person's life. Because even if you have an idea, you can either bring down that idea to the level of your growth, or you elevate that idea to the level of your growth. So personal growth, personal development is very important. Put the boys in spaces where they will grow. Buy them books. Let them join book clubs. Let them join communities that is building up boys. For last year's 2023 International Boy Child Day 2023, we had sons worshiping the Father. It was a pure worship experience for teenage and preteen boys. And my goodness, imagine only boys worshiping God. It was divine. It was divine. I think that's just what I would say about it. So plug your boys into such places. Remember, we said every human exists in the tripartite. It is not okay for the boy to be doing educational or creative wise, mind wise, soul wise. He's reading, he's able to do this, he can talk, he can do this, he can do this, and then spiritually he's lagging. No, it's not complete. That's the wholesomeness that we talk about. Spirit, soul, and body. So plug him here, plug him here, plug him here. And you see him living an adventurous, healthy, rich, enriched, radiant, epic life. Even as a boy child, he will enjoy his life more when we do these things intentionally for the boy child.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So, my dear parents, we can understand now that it is important, it is pertinent that we raise the boy child with all intentionality. No parent should say, I don't have time to do intentional parenting. It is for your own good, and also for the good of your boy child and for the good of the society. Personal growth. We don't have to wait until the boy child becomes an adult and leaves his father's house to start his own family for him to start personal growth and development. As at whatever age he is right now, you can start developing that boy and prepare him for adulthood. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We have come to the end of today's discussion, and I bet you agree with me, it has been a fabulous meeting today. We have so much insight that we have gathered together, but the most important thing is how best we can put it to work.
Yes.
We don't just get the knowledge, but wisdom demands that we apply it. Are you a father? Are you a mother? Are you a teacher? This is the time we need to do the needful in raising the boy child. We'll raise the girl child, we'll also raise the boy child. Remember that naturally, headship is upon the shoulders of the boy child. A lot is expected from the boy child. And for him to play this role effectively, he needs the support of the family, he needs the support of the entire community. Let's not push the boy child to thinking that, oh, you are a man, you should do this. You are a man, you must do this. And that reminds me, we didn't talk about that when they say boys don't cry. But even though we didn't talk about it, I'll just let you know in this my last lines. It is permissible for a boy child to cry when he needs to cry. Let him cry. Crying or tears are not meant for the girl child alone. Allow him express his emotions. It's very important. Like my guest said earlier on, don't allow the boy child to bottle up his feelings, because when he continues to bottle up his feelings, a time will come when those feelings have been bottled up will erupt into a volcano. We can't avert that. So let's give them room to express their emotions, and let's listen to the boy child when he's talking. Very important. Create room for the boy child. And peradventure, you are a single parent, maybe a mother, and say, oh, there is no father figure, the father is not always around. There is always a man around that can play that role of a mentor and a role model to that boy child. There shouldn't be that vacuum. I keep saying that we cannot downplay the role of mentorship, not only in the life of the boy child, even in the life of the girl child. So at this point, I want to say a big thank you for joining us on this broadcast, and also if you can drop your comments, we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. And don't forget, if you're yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe to TenderThots Connect. The year is full of so much amazing things for you and I. Just be expectant and do your best to do the needful. Remain inspired in doing great things. I remain Fumilayo Azoro Ekeze, your host on TenderThots Connect. And before I say bye, please, let's hear from my guests. The last line for...
My last line. Okay, we just want to thank you for being a beautiful audience, and to say please root for the boy child in your community. When we raise a boy child wholesomely and healthily, we actually raise generations wholesomely and healthily. When you raise one boy child wholesomely and healthily, you raise generations, because he raises his family wholesomely and healthily. His family too, his own children, will raise theirs wholesomely and healthily. So when you're planting and intentionally sowing into the seed of one boy child, understand that you're doing it for generations, generations, and generations. Thank you so much. I remain Chineze, and thank you so much. God bless you.
All right, so if you don't have a biological son, raise a boy child in your community. Bye.
Thank you.